Art International presents Fresh Talk, conversations about creativity in the 21st century. I'm Cathy Byrd, Fresh Art producer, and today I'm inside a very old building in Barcelona's Barrio Gótica, talking to two very creative boat people. From Holland, Iris Tonies, an artist, and Arnout Krediet, live with their two children, ages 2 and 6, on their 54-foot sailboat in the marina of Portavee in Barcelona. They came here by water in 2008 and now call this beautiful city their home. In fact, they've become very involved in the city, creating a studio space for young artists called Estudio Nómada. We'll talk first about how they got here. Why a sailboat and why Barcelona?
Well, actually, my whole life I've been sailing. So I was not born on a boat, but my family is a boat family. So my whole life I've been sailing. And I think when I was about 18, the idea came that I wanted to have a boat and start a school on that boat. It was the first idea I had. I saw the movie The White Squall, maybe people know it, a Hollywood movie, about a boat where they teach difficult kids, you know. And I saw that and I said, wow, that would be so amazing to have a big boat, be a captain, have some teachers around and teach those kids. It sounded very romantic. So, well, then I started studying other stuff. After that, I got my captain's license. I worked in Greece for a while as a captain. And I figured that surfing people like that was not really a talent I had, you know. It was very nice to sail and I would really like being on the boat. But having all those people demanding around me was too much. So I decided, okay, I want that boat, so why don't I just buy one instead of a house and fix it and start living on it? And so I looked at my wife and said, what do you think about it? And she liked it too, so that's how it started. And then we found a very cool old boat that we fixed, Melquiades, where we live on right now.
And how did you make your way to Barcelona?
When we started living on a boat, it was December in Holland and it was so cold and I had a disillusion about the romantic idea of living on a boat and we were totally frozen and
sand blasted.
Yeah, it was really horrible. So we went to Barcelona for a weekend to defrost. So, and then, yeah, it's great art scene, it's nice, let's go. And that's what we did actually. It was really that naive. So half a year later, we had a lot of help from friends and family to get the boat ready. And then we took off. And 2 months later, after a very rough trip, we arrived in Barcelona. And there, actually, we realized that we didn't really have a plan here. So
no, well, we did. We did have a plan because we had a business in communication. I was writing and I was a journalist for some sailing magazines. So I thought that was fine, you know, we would be able to live off it. But when we crossed Cape Faro, which is the south tip of Portugal, the crisis burst. I don't know how you say that. So which is something usually I wouldn't even think about it too much. But we arrived in Barcelona and the first customer started saying, okay, I'm sorry, I cannot pay for it now because all the uncertainties and all that.
Yeah.
And within a couple of months we were just really like, shit, we're in Barcelona.
And actually I was looking for a studio space and I also wanted to have a show with my work. I just walked around and were asking with some galleries and things. I said, yeah, you can have a show. Please pay me 800 euros and then you can have your show. And I was so upset and offended by it. Like, what? In Holland, it was impossible that a gallery would ask these questions to you. It never happened. So no, I'm not going to pay money to have a show. So I thought, well, but if this is how it works, then I can better have my own gallery space and have my own studio space. And then why should I pay you the money? So this is actually how the plan starts. Very quickly, we came to this great building. And I started looking for other artists to join us to split the rent. And I had my first show here in the studio space. And I know it's not like the most fancy gallery space, but it's brought me good things here.
And the Estudio Nómada, tell me about that.
Now, the basic idea is because we are travelers, and yeah, we see ourselves as sea nomads. that if we are arriving somewhere, the big question as an artist, where to hook on and where to plug in with your art and how to get into this art scene as quick as possible. And this is actually, we found out that it is a bit of a problem in Barcelona. It's very close to the traditional art scene. And we thought, okay, well, you know, if the party is not organized for me, let's organize the party ourselves. This is actually the basic idea.
Yes, we were basically, the idea was to have an inn, you know, like a hostel for traveling artists. And we had, it went very quickly because we arrived in September. In November we rented this building. And in February we were full. It was just somebody from Argentina, from Brazil, from Spain, one person actually. From Ireland there was somebody, you know.
Yeah,
just
very good painter.
Yeah, so a lot of artists that were from abroad actually sought something, you know, to be connected to, at least to have a sort of a basis and a network.
And the shows and events, so everybody who's in the network of the studio, they can use the studio space, the exhibition space, to have their experiments, their shows, their installations. So.
And at what point did you start inviting residents, these young artists that are...
The students, more or less, the young artists.
Right, the students.
Well, this was after half a year. A girl from Holland, she came, and she wanted to prepare herself for art school. And she wanted to be guided by me. And I really loved it to do. It was my first experience to totally new thing.
Well, you had been teaching in your art academy, I guess, a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah.
And that's how it came. That the head of that school, they refused a girl for studying in their school, and they told her, like, we know somebody that you could profit from, or that could help you to create a portfolio. She was living in Barcelona. It would be a cool experience. Somehow we got into
school to her.
Yeah.
And this is how she came to me. And then I got pregnant from Pibe, and I was I had to deliver him, of course. And then Arnout took off a few of the classes, so he started also to help her writing and preparing an
artist statement, and titles.
And actually this was so nice. So there the new idea was born with Pibe.
So then the next phase was, first we had just one student. Then we made a web page and we started to market it more, like let's see if there's a market for it and see if we can get more students in. And then within a year we were full, actually 15 students. We rent another building, and it went very quickly. So there was a demand for very personalized, training on the process based and production based, and not just being in a school following the lines, but being free and get guided in your own freedom, basically.
Mm-hmm. Where are your students coming from? What countries are they?
Some interesting examples which we're proud of is Hong Kong, Syria, Kuwait, I think Bolivia, Australia, then some European countries.
In the process of setting up this studio and the school, how are you engaging with the Barcelona community?
Yes, in different ways. We try to be as much involved with the Catalan art scene, and I found out that now we're getting more and more visible. And people, they more and more getting like, hey, there's something going on. There are not that many initiatives which are keeping their heads above the water. Right now, it's people like, hey, they're still there, and what are they doing?
So there's a local event, which is called Circuitissimo Gotico. And there, all the shops in the area open their doors. So we joined that. We joined that. There's a lot of people coming. And then Talleres Oberts. Yeah, that's the biggest event of the year in the city. Throughout the whole city, people open their doors. It's end of May, usually end of May, and it's all the art, all the studios, and they say it's for the democratization of art. Not just showing what the museums show, but also what is really happening in the streets. And we joined that too, and there's a big flow of people, and all that because we put a lot of effort in it to make a nice exhibition and print a flyer. So they come by with a group of VIPs to see the space. And I think we try to do that also, of course, to be visible, to be known, to be connected, and to find new ways to put our roots down. We organize a lot of things for our students and for friends sometimes. And what we did is we projected on the sail of our boat once. The president of the Loop got word of it. The Loop is a big video art festival in town. It's actually one of the bigger video art festivals in the world, I guess. It's a really good festival. And the idea is actually this year is going to be a pilot. That we're probably going to work together with an agent or a producer or somebody that has a stack of films. And then next year we will do an open call and people can send in work. We select a theme and we'll curate it ourselves. They asked us to do more projects. So not do it just here in Barcelona, but go to other cities and reproduce it. They found a big installation company that wants to work together with it, and it sounds very cool and amazing.
Really amazing.
Yeah, really cool.
You've been listening to Fresh Talk with Iris and Arnout of Estudio Nómada. Read more about Iris and Arnout and hear other podcasts in this series at freshartinternational.com.